Hello, welcome to the Age of Sigmar Stat Center. I'm your host, Rob. This is the show where we look at the event results over the weekend and we work out which armies are doing well, what's the up-and-coming army list, which units are the best, and also who are the better players from around the world. We have got a busy weekend this weekend. Remember I told you last week, it was very early into the edition and we were going to start to see the scene explode over the next few months. Well, here's the beginning of that kind of tsunami of stuff. So we've got 275 players playing this week, but that's 12 events over 6 countries. As I've said, Age of Sigmar is definitely becoming a much more grassroots game, which I think is much better. Instead of these big marquee events with 200 people, instead you've got people from all over different parts of a country or the world playing these kind of smaller games. And you can see we've got one 56-person event, and then we've got like 11 between 12 and 29, so that's pretty decent. But yeah, USA, England, France, Australia, Canada, all for this week. I want to say a special shout out to Warhammer Rob as well for bringing me, as always, the hot information about these things. Now, the other thing to talk about, kind of a community thing before we go any further, is if you don't know, there's a thing called the Age of Sigmar World Team Championships, which is a team-based event that happened in Australia last year. And this year will be happening on a beach resort in Italy. There's normally a singles event, which means you can go and play. Normally that's midweek though. Normally the team event happens Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And so on Wednesday and Thursday, you're going to go and be able to play in Italy on a beach if you want to go. And do that, which is fun. I'm sure there'll also be some live streams from the event, as there was last year. Shout out to Threshold Tactics, who I think did the streaming last year. If you want to go check out their YouTube channel. And this year there'll also be some live streaming as well, there probably will be, where you can go and check out these. And because it happens close enough towards the end of the season, this will be using probably all the new current GHB stuff, but that'll be like in a year's time. So very exciting times. Anyway, our first event this week is taking us over to the USA for the Ironworld Age of Sigmar Grand Tournament. Ironworld is a great event run by the fantastic Miles, who very recently, well, not that recently, but has become a dad. Him and Corey both became dads kind of around the same time, which is maybe why the event was held at the Magical Beginnings Daycare Center. I can't really work it out. However, it's our biggest event of the week, with 56 people battling it out in the USA, and it is a cavalcade of legends. Also, don't forget that talking about the World Team Championships, the United States are the current champion, the World Team Champions of Age of Sigmar. So some of those team members are in at this event themselves. So let's go and look at the list. Looking at the 5-0s, we have 2. We've got Dylan Thoreau, I'm always going to say that wrong, running Cities of Sigmar, and Adam Weinstein running Iron Jaws. That's right, Iron Jaws, ladies and gentlemen, in the new GHB. Let's look at Dylan's list. The name of his list is, I'm quite certain that the crimes of this guilty land will never be purged away with blood. I had, as I now think vainly, flattered myself without very much bloodshed. It might be done. It's a quote from John Brown, the abolitionist. It's a great quote, especially good for an occupational force like Cities of Sigmar, which he was running. He was running the Fearless Exemplars, and his battle tactics were Master the Paths and Wrathful Cycles. Okay. So then he was running a Steam Tank Commander, John Brown. He had Pontifex in Estra. And just let's talk about that for a moment, how we're seeing these different lists being designed. Now we're seeing the General's Regiment only having 1 model in it. Then the next regiment, Pontifex and Estra, 1 model, and that is the Scourge of Garan version. Then Callus and Toll and the Companions, a 3rd regiment. No units so far. Okay, then we've got a Frigo Marshal Relic Envoy, Fusel Major Ogre Warhawk, 2 units of, 1 unit of Frigo Fusiliers, 1 unit of Frigo Cavaliers, a Battle Mage, and 3 Command Corps. We're not quite at the stage yet where Cities of Sigmar I'd run in the 10 Command Corps, but 3 is pretty good. 3 is pretty good. So why are people taking so many drops in their list? Well, it's pretty simple. It's because they want the re-roll for the priority roll. Whether or not, they're not going to get the choice to go first, but that re-roll is now more important, or at least this 5-0 player who's an absolute badass, a hero of mine, Dylan Thoreau. was doing that. The Frigo Command Core are super effective. They're very points efficient, 140 points. They'll probably get a points increase in the future. You get +1 to hit from the Fusil Major on Ogre Warhawk. The Fusiliers then can shoot as well. Shooting, not dead, as previously maybe thought. Frigo Cavaliers, decent. Sinestra, really powerful. Callus for an objective. The Steam Tank Commander, also decent as well. Shout out to Dylan, what a legend. Then we've got Adam Weinstein. He's running a list called Like White on Rice, running an Iron Jaws Uruk Warclans list, and he was running Restless Energy and Intercept and Recover. He had Godrak, which is crazy, 2 Weird Brute Wreckers, a Mega Boss and Maw Crusher, a unit of Wreckers again, reinforced this time, and then Kragnos, a unit of Gore Grunters, and a War Chanter. That is thin, ladies and gentlemen. That is thin. That is all power all the time. 3 massive monsters in Godrak, Megaboss, and Kragnos. And then a ton of output from the Wreckers. That's crazy. That's a crazy great list. Really efficient to put together. 3d6 charges. Big smash. Well done to Adam. Great list. So let's go and look at the 4-1 section, shall we? So Brian Chick was running a list called Witches Are the Problem, which is a Daughters of Cain Arena Veterans list, running Scouting Force and Wrathful Cycles. This added the new Scourge Garan Cruetha, 2 units of Witch Elves that were reinforced with paired knives. Then a Slaughter Queen on Cauldron of Blood, Life Takers, and 2 units of Sisters of Slaughter with Bladed Bucklers. And you think, wow, that's all they could fit in. Absolutely not. A Scourge Garan Bloodrak Shrine, and 3 units of Life Takers, 80 infantry, 3 key pieces in the Bloodrak Shrine, Cauldron of Blood, and Cruetha as well, and then enough little units for the MSU style play with the Life Takers. Very effective. Daughters of Cain, really solid. We're going to see them also in the 4-1 section again. Personally, I don't know if I have the energy to build and paint 80 infantry. It's also pretty fragile, but like I feel like it's got to be one of the most fun armies out there to play. It just does so much damage. Shout out to Madigan with a list called I Don't Want to Buy a Second Coach. Oh, nice. Running Vanishing Phantasms, and her battle tactics were Wrathful Cycles and Scouting Force. She ran Kurdos, 2 reinforced unit of Dreadscythe Harridans. We talked about that on a previous list and how efficient they are, or a previous video. Then the Black Coach, Reikenor, 2 units of Dreadblade Harrows, a Krulgas Cruciator, and some Chain Ghasts. So decided not to get the second Black Coach, Madigan, but also only hit the 4-1. Second Black Coach equals a 5-0. We all know that. That's true. Tom Ling is running a list called Princess Peach and her angry aubergines. I think that's what we call them here. I don't know what you guys call them. Anyway, he's running a Sylvaneth list. Sylvaneth list in the Forest Folk battle formation, using Restless Energy and Scouting Force as his tactic cards, with Alariel, 3 reinforced units of Spite Revenants. This is very cool. Belthanos, 2 more smaller units of Spite Revenants, a unit of Tree Revenants, and a War Song Revenant. So you got some speed and mobility. Alariel, the Ever Queen, and Belthanos normally with the Kurnoth Hunters. But obviously, Tom has decided to switch up and go for the Spite Revs instead. Very spicy plays. That's very cool. Love seeing that. Jeremy Vissier was running a Lord of the Drazdul list, which was a Fireslayers Lords of the Lodge list, which was an Auric Runefather on Magmadroth. Sorry, I should have said he was running a Tuntic Garan and Wrathful Cycles. Many of these players also, this is their first GT under the new missions as well. I know I said this in the last video, but 4 weeks in, and many of these players also play on TTS a lot, so they do get a lot of practice in. But this is, you know, some of their first GTs, so there's still a lot of lessons being learned here. I just want to just talk about that. So Auric Runefather on Magmadroth, Scourge Garan Auric Runesun, 3 units of Vulcan Flameseekers, a Grimhold Exile, reinforced unit of Berserkers with Broadaxes, and another unit of Berserkers with Broadaxes, Runemaster and Battlesmith. Now, what people are not saying, number one, this isn't an all Magmadroth list, but Fireslayers are currently one of the best armies in the game. They're an A-tier army, played here by an S-tier player. So a 4-1 is absolutely acceptable. But like the all Droths list is probably much stronger, but this is still very solid. And if you are a Fireslayer fan, go put them on the tabletop because they slap. Anthony Lawrence was running a Daughters of Cain list with Arena Veterans. He was running Cruetha the Chronosteer, 20 Sisters Slaughter with Bladed Bucklers, 2 units of 20 witch elves with paired knives, and another unit of witch elves with bladed bucklers. Then Slaughter Queen of Cauldron of Blood, 5 Blood Sisters, 5 Doomfire Warlocks, 5 Heart Renders, High Gladiatrix, and 9 Shadow Stalkers. So like I said previously, just a ton of different units that can get fight twice and do an amazing amount of damage. And the new Cruetha, the Scourging Around one, is mad good. You should go check it out. Jack Politis was running a list called Garan Dark Oath. Check out these guns in the forest. He was running a Dark Oath list with Intercept and Recover and Scouting Force, with Gunner Brand, Reinforced unit of Dark Oath Marauders, a Dark Oath Wilder Fiend, then Dark Oath Chieftain, a Reinforced unit of Dark Oath Marauders, Dark Oath Savages, Dark Oath Wilder Fiend, a Dark Oath Chieftain with a Reinforced unit of Dark Oath Marauders, Dark Oath Savages, and Dark Oath Wilder Fiend. Then a Mimrodon, and then the Regiment of Renown, the Volt Claws Engine Coven, which has got a Galvanier, a Warp Blaster, and a Scourges. So adding some shooting to a Dark Oath army via the Skaven Regiment of Renown is a spicy pick. But other than this, this is maybe the most creative Slaves to Darkness list we've seen, at least this GHB, but maybe for the whole of 4th edition so far. Super fascinating to know how this played. Really interested to know all elements, and I know how all these bits work, but how it comes together as a single piece. Also, and probably Jack will cover this on his YouTube channel, Always Strikes Last, if you'd like to check it out. I'm not sure if he'll be doing a review. I hope he does, because I, for one, will be a viewer, because I want to know how he ran this list, because it's very exciting. So hopefully he puts some information up. That would be cool. Justin Hagelin was running a list called Sausage Party, which was Krazog's Grunter Stampede. This cannot be happening to us again. Using Master the Paths and Wrathful Cycles. It also says Cause Light. I gotta say, the Age of Sigmar community doesn't have a problem, it has a solution. And that's the solution. It's White Claws and Core Lights. And if you're from Europe, I assume a blonde beer. That's what I'm going to say. Anyway, he's running a Tusk Boss on More Grunter, a Gore Grunter, a unit of More Grunter Gougers, 2 More Grunters with Hacking Crew, a Tusk Boss, a Gore Grunter, some other More Grunter Gougers, and a More Grunter with Hacking Crew. His faction terrain note says, I can put an obscuring can of Cause Light on the table whenever I finish it. Also, it does mortal wounds to enemy units, bonus damage to shooting units and wizards. Anyway, as I covered last week, the big pigs are here. And I don't know how else to put that out there. The time of the big pig is now. And I was right a year ago. I just needed the points reductions to happen. Okay, so we're there now. Okay, the pigs are in. It is the season of the big pig. So watch out. Rybai was running a list called the Fangs of the Howling Maw, which is a Lumineth Temple's Hurricane Temple list with Primal Energy. And he was running Restless Energy and Wrathful Cycles. He was running Severith, a Reinforced unit of Wind Chargers, Ellen Elthor, the Scourging Grand Light of Altharion, which is so good, 2 Reinforced unit of Blade Lords, and Enlightener. The thing to say again about this list is that right now, I think LRL are an exceptional army to play. They've got loads of utility in that they've got some of the fastest moving units on the board. They've got limited like missile weapon and small poke damage if they want. They've got really solid combat units, really solid characters and support pieces. Unlike other armies, don't have anything close to these sorts of units, and really, really good. So congratulations to Riot. It's a great result. Then Benjamin Mohi is running a Yamato Cannons operational list, which is a Skaven Warp Cog Convocation with Scouting Force and Master the Paths. He was running Lord Screech Vermin King, 2 units of Globadiers, a unit of Clan Rats, and some Doomflayers. Then a Scourging Garan, a Screaming Bell, Clan Rats, 2 lots of Jezzails, a Warlock Bombardier, and 2 Lightning Cannons. Wow, that is a ton of shooting. It's a ton of long-range shooting. In the 4-1 section, really showcasing that shooting is not dead, and there's lots of stuff to shoot out there. Anyway, a great group of people went to this event. I hope they all had an amazing time. Let's get a look at the next result. Our next event takes us to the Crossroads Carnage 2025. Now, this had 29 players, all champs. Great, but I need to talk about where it took place. Because This isn't going to make a lot of sense. The blind deaf monk with fabulous hair on his way to the game preserve. But when you realize that in Indianapolis, Indiana, you can go to the game preserve, which looks like a great gaming venue, but also get your hair done at Mike Angelo's beauty salon. You can then go get your vision sorted out, your hearing aid sorted, and then finally sort yourself out by doing some Wing Chun. You realize that this might be one of the greatest strip malls ever. The only thing that's really lacking is a great place for dinner, but I'm sure there's an opportunity to have something around there. Anyway, 29 people bowed it out. And if we take a look at the results, also shout out to TJ Crawford for running the event. In first place, we had Victor of the Bomb Table Bullies, unfortunately running Sons of Behemoth. That's okay. Probably is just, he's probably just illiterate. He was running the Manskittle Mob, and his list is called List. His list is called List. I hate Gargan play. Doesn't matter. Anyway, he was running the Manskittle Mob, and he was running Interceptor Recover and Restless Energy. And then he had a Gatebreaker Mega Gargan, a Gatebreaker Mega Gargan, a Gatebreaker Mega Gargan, and then he had the Braggots Bottle Snatchers Regiment of Renown, so you can make them run and charge. I assume his games took 15 to 25 minutes, and the rest of the time he was doing Wing Chun. Congratulations to Victor for being the champ. Well done, Victor, I guess. Right, if we go and look at the 4-1 section, we can see that Corey was running a list called the Cannon Man Can, which was a Cities of Sigmar veteran cannoneers list with Intercept and Recover and Master the Paths as the battle tactics. Then he had a Free-Guild Marshal Relic Envoy, a Free-Guild Command Corps, unit of Free-Guild Steel Helms, and a unit of Wilder Corp Hunters. Then a Fusel Major on Ogre Warhawk and the 3 Great Cannons. Then a Scourging around Pontifex Sinestra, 2 units of Free-Guild Cavaliers, Callus and Toll, and a Battle Mage. Pretty much a close to cookie cutter version of what you will see from these lists. It's also really worth pointing out that these Cities of Sigmar lists have not been hitting multiple 5-0s. We've occasionally seen a 5-0 and a 4-1. The rumor that they were busted as all hell is absolutely not true, but they are strong. We've also seen loads of Daughters of Cain, loads of other stuff, and unfortunately Gargants. So great list by Corey. It's nice to see Cities of Sigmar have an army that can even hit a 4-1 section. Right? We'd love to see it. Right, Mike Nees is running a list called This Is Why Nobody Wants to Play Me, Typical Elf Bullshit. He was running a Lumineth Realm Lord Cenari Council list with Intercept and Recover, Wrathful Cycles, and he had Eleanor and Elethor, the Scourging Grand Light of Altharion, and a unit of Sentinels. Then an Enlightener, 2 units of Blade Lords again. It seems to be a core of these lists, very similar to the list that we saw previously. Then a Cathalar, and then 2 units and a unit of Savior of Cinderfall as well. Again, we're looking at 4 regiments, so some classics. Here again, like I say, I think this is an A-tier army. You can do really well, especially as pointed out by Mike. There's a lot of bullshit in these lists. So, like when there's not necessarily a lot of abilities and a lot of war scrolls, if you've got war scrolls and a lot of abilities, your opponent's going to be struggling there. Xavier Green was running a list just called Elves, which is Daughters of Cain, Coven of Zealots list, and then running the Manifestations of Cain with Master of the Path and Scouting Force. Then Slaughter Queen on Cauldron of Blood, unit of Shadow Stalkers, then a Sister Slaughter with Bladed Bucklers that were reinforced ×2, Scourging Grand Crueth's of Croneseer, and then 2 units of Witch Elves with pairs of blades, Hag Queen, 2 units of Doomfire Warlocks. A-tier army. Really good, very difficult to manage, loads to do, massive output. Then Tori was running a From Whom the Bell Tolls Skaven Fleshmail Menagerie list with Intercept and Recover and Scouting Force. And then Thankwall and Bone Ripper, 2 reinforced units of Rat Ogres, 2 smaller units of Rat Ogres, a Scourging Garan Gracier and Screaming Bell, a Master Molder, Plague Pack, and Scourging Garan Brood Terror. Congratulations to her. I know for a fact she'll be talking about it on the Combat Phase podcast if you would like to go and find out how this list is doing. Great series of armies again. Let's just take a moment to do a bit of a recap. Cities, Lumineth again, Daughters of Cain again, Skaven again, with some other armies like dropping down, but You know, we've seen quite a lot of like variation. Really got to say, a lot of variation across the different like events so far. Let's look at the next one. Our next event takes us to Arkansas for the Hog Hammer Age of Sigmar Grand Tournament with 28 people battling it out. If we go and look at the event results, we can see that we only have 4-1. Oh, sorry, only 1-5-0 with Carson Seriazik. And he was running a list called Coming to Getcha, which was a Moorpath Menaces list with Master the Paths and Restless Energy. He had a Slaughtermaster, a Reinforced Unit of Iron Guts, 2 units of Gluttons, and a Scourger Grand Iron Blaster, and a Butcher, some Noblars, a Gorgon Moorpack, and some Gluttons. So, I mean, those Fight Twice Iron Guts, smash in face, Gluttons taking up all the board. The Gorgon Moorpack doing some deep striking at the back is interesting, and the Iron Blaster, the new one, very cool. Now, if we go and look at the 4-1s, we can see that the first of our 4-1s is Tristan Dale with a list called Red Bull Gives You Sigmarines, which was a Stormcast Eternal Centers Oblique Citadels list with Interceptor, Recover, and Master the Paths, with Ionis, a Lord Terminos, a Quest of Soulsworn, and a Reinforced Unit of Reclusians. Then Taunus Redeemed, Gardas, 2 Reinforced Units of Prosecutors. Very cool. The Prosecutors, the Garda Steel Soul pick as well, so you get extra attacks and some additional charge bonuses. I think it's +1. Taunus Redeemed also in there is a wild pick. Very fun. Okay, love to see that. Then Joe Vucic was running a list called Cities of Sigmar. Okay, fine, Carter. I was wrong. Cannons are finally good. Now I just need mine from Derek. Seems very pointed. It's a list. I don't know who Carter is, but if you can make sure that Derek gets the cannons back to Joe, I'm sick of this, right? So his Cities of Sigmar list is Veteran Cannoneers, and he was running Restless Energy and Master the Paths with a Fusel Major on Ogre Warhawk, a Celestial Hurricanum in 2025, 3 Ironwell Great Cannons, Pontifex Sinestra, a Warforger, a Reinforced Unit of Steel Helms, another Reinforced Unit of Steel Helms, a Warforger, another unit of Steel Helms. Wow. That takes up to 60 Steel Helms, 3 Gobashlon Griffin, and a Reinforced Unit of Cavaliers. Very different to the list we've seen previously. Also, importantly, those Scourge Ground updates have drastically changed Cities of Sigmar from what we saw them as in the last GHB, where it was all Dark Elves and Dwarfs. We've seen a massive change up there. Alex Cotter was running a list called London 1941. Which is a Carriage and Overlord's Aether Runners list with Master the Paths and Intercept and Recover. I'm assuming this is in reference to the Blitz. So then he had Brock Rungson, an Arcanaut Company, a Frigate, a Scourger Gun Hauler, and some Sky Wardens. Then Drekkie Flynn, a Navigator, a Frigate, and some Engine Riggers. So a little bit shooty, a little bit fighty. Okay, a little bit shooty, a little bit fighty. And then we've got Landon McDonald with a Skaven list running Virulent Procession. And he had Lord Screech Vermin King, a unit of Night Runners that were reinforced, and a Deathmaster. And then a unit of Night Runners and some Doom Flayers. Then a Deathmaster and 3 more units of Night Runners, taking us up to 100 Night Runners in the list. with the Doom Flayers and Lord Screech Vermin King. And I'm assuming the Doom Flayers are only in there because there's a 20-point difference and he can't take another unit of Night Runners. What an amazingly thematic list. That's very cool from Landon McDaniel. Hope everyone had fun at the event. Again, nice and diverse. KO, Cities, Skaven, Stormcast, Ogres. No army repeated there. Let's go and look at the next one. Our next event takes us over to Merry Blighty, a bit of Blighty in England, for the AOS Iron Man event. If you're not sure what that means, Iron Man events are when you play all 5 2,000-point games you would normally play over 2 days in 1 day. 1 day. It's a testament to skill, endurance, and power, and also being a little bit unhinged. Yeah, sickos and degenerates only. Organized by Neil Pritchard, it had 24 people battling it out. Okay. People recoiling in horror right now at that information. Anyway, it was being held at the fantastic venue, Leodis Games, as you can see here. Leodis is located in Farsley in England. So if you're anywhere around there, go check out Leodis Games. It's a really great venue. Like really great people run it. So yeah, go check it out if you get a chance. Yeah, it won Game Store of the Year in the Prestige Awards. So go check it out for sure. It's also right next to an amazing pub called the Box of Whiffs. Welcome to England. Anyway, right, if we go look at the 5-0s, we can see the first 5-0 is Peter Twig. Now, this is a big deal because this marks the new captain of the Welsh national team in his second 5-0 of this GHB alone. If he does win one more, he ends up with the coveted 3-peat award where he wins 3. And interestingly, he did it with a different army. He's our only 5-0. Last time he won with Cities of Sigmar. This time he ran with Stormcast Eternals, running Sentinels of the Bleak Citadels. He had Intercept and Recover and Restless Energy. He had Scourge Garan, Iridan the Witness, 2 reinforced unit of Prosecutors, a Storm Coven and some Vigilers, and the Lord Vigilant on Griftstalker, a Knight Relictor, a Lord Terminos, and a unit of Reclusians in the list as well. Pretty interesting list. I like this a lot. Those long bomb charges from the Prosecutors are so effective. The new Scourge Grand Iridan the Witness is legit. Almost made me go buy it and pick it up, but I'm really happy with my Cities of Sigmar list. Sorry, not my Stormcast list. I'd probably only switch up to running Gardas. But such a great pick. Such a great pick, that Iridan the Witness. And he would have played against that at the AOS Masters event that I ran, and he would have seen how effective that is. So well done to Pete. That's great. He really deserves all the rewards he's getting. He's such a nice fella. Then if we go look at the 4-1s, he's got Daryl Jones. He's running a Skaven Gathering of the Clans list with Intercept and Recover and Master the Paths. So then he's got Scourge Garan on Screaming Bell, Doom Flayers, Rat Ogres, 2 Scourge Garan Brood Terrors as well, Vermlord Deceiver, and 2 units of Clan Rats. So 2 units of Clan Rats, 2 units of Brood Terrors. The Scourge Garan Brood Terrors, I did not expect to be this popular, but it's surprising. It's surprising to me. But if you look how much Skaven has really benefited from the Scourge Garan units, that's not to say though Skaven's that A-tier army. Loads of options for that army. Loads of options. Shooting, fighting, Storm Fiends, Rat Ogres. We saw that ridiculous list from a minute ago. Probably one of the broadest books out on the market right now. Probably the broadest book, which is very cool. Martin McKenzie was running a list called Sneaky Chonk, which was a Orc Warclans Cruel Boys list with Master of the Paths and Scouting Force. And Swamp Caller Shaman, Reinforced Unit Gut Rippers, Reinforced Unit Gut Rippers, 2 units of Monster Killers, Scourge Garan Killer Boss and Great Gnashtooth. I personally think this is one of the best war scrolls in the game right now. Like, not in pure output, but in utility, and especially with battle tactics. Merc Knob with Belcher Madden, Killer Boss on Corpse Ripper Vulture, Scourge Garan Swamp Boss Scumdrek, Monster Skewer Killbows, and 2 units of Bolt Boys. So, if you were to ask me right now, where would I rate Cruel Boys? I'm going to put them at the A tier of AOS. I think that they're solid. They've got loads of strength. They can play a slower tempo game. And when they hit you with everything, it's pretty killer. Very, very good, very strong. And it's got a lot of utility and a lot more stuff than a lot of people have. So then we got Alex Donkin running a Sunclaw Seraphon Star Host list. And this is huge because Seraphon really are not doing very well right now. So this is pretty important, getting a 4-1. Restless Energy and Intercept and Recover. Great choices. He's got the Old Blood and Carnosaur, 6 Lancers, 6 Croxigor, and then another Old Blood on Carnosaur, the Scourge Garan one, and 6 more Agrodon Lancers. So Croak isn't as good as it was. So then you drop back to what works inside Seraphon. It's definitely not a slan. So it's just running 2 of the new Carnosaurs, 12 Lancers, 6 Croxigor. Run it like you would run Gargants in a Doom lozenge in the middle of the board. That is an incredible amount of health on good armor saves to get through. That's going to do a lot of aggressive fighting. Very solid, like big, huge units. Well done to Alex, because it's really rare to see Seraphon do very well. So that's an excellent result. Right, let's go over to France. Our next event in France takes us to the French Wargaming Cafe. You can see that here in the middle of Paris, if you would like to go, whatever go. Actually, interestingly, in France, this is just called the Wargaming Cafe. Anyway, there were 20 people battling it out. It was organized by Matthew Bach. And in first place, we have Gregoire Elinique. Now, it's a big deal that the French are using Best Coast pairings as opposed to like some weird French website. So this is actually really exciting because normally they use weird gamer names, so I'm very excited about that. Anyway, Gregor Elenik was running Disciples of Tzeentch. He's running a list called Kilix Demonic Power, which is a Weird Flame host Disciples of Tzeentch list with Restless Energy and Wrathful Cycles. Kairos Fate Weaver, 20 Zangor, 6 Zangor on disc, 20 more Zangor, Zangor Shaman, 3 Skyfires, and then the Regiment of Renown, the Godmark Descendant, the Demon Prince. Let's go. 20 Zangor, a bunch on disc. So we are now seeing a much more aggressive version of Disciples of Tzeentch, which is kind of how you need to build them. First GHB, it was very demon orientated. It's much better for holding stuff. Now we're seeing aggro, run up the board, smash, backed up by Kairos. Great to see. We jump into the forward section. We can see that Martin Feingold was running a Skaven list called Screech 60 Storm Vermin. I think that's a clue of what's going to be in here. He's running Claw Horde with Scouting Force and Wrathful Cycles, with Screech, a Warp Lightning Cannon, 40 Storm Vermin, a Master Molder, the Scourgy Garan Greyseer and Screaming Bell, then 60 Clan Rats and Kritok Foulblade. So I guess it's a bit of a trick because it actually wasn't 60 Storm Vermin. It was just 40 Storm Vermin and then 60 Clan Rats. It needs to change the name up. Anyway, that, if you haven't clocked, is 100 bodies on the board with Screech doing that incredible prayer support. These lists eventually ended up where I thought that they would end up at for Skaven, so that's great to see. So shout out to Martin. And then Zazu Officiel was running a list called La Liste dans le Sea. No idea. Which is a Soulblight Gravelord's Death Stench Drove list using Master of the Paths and Wrathful Cycles. He had Manfred, a reinforced unit of Barrow Guard, a reinforced unit of Barrett Knights, a White Lord on Skeletal Steed, Scourgy Garan Sekar, the new one, the Fang of Nulamia, and then 3 units of Dire Wolves. Fantastic to see. Lots of board presence again. One of the things I did say that when we ended up in this tank and spank meta, we would end up either with lots of board presence or we'd end up with lots of output. You see the version of Twiggy's list with that very kind of like scalpel style Stormcast Eternals list versus the 2 Skaven lists that we just saw. Sorry, the 2 lists that we just saw, Skaven and Soulblight Gravelords with lots of bodies on the board. Also, interestingly, and has always been true, the French always move towards a more horde-based meta. French national team, French players when they go overseas generally tend to create more board control, which actually skews their meta and also the results from their armies, which I think is really interesting. Whereas a lot of the other countries end up with not quite as many bodies on the board, which is why we see people like Tom Guan over in the USA, when he does start playing things like 1 million zombies or 1 million Skaven, it really skews the game pretty aggressively. So interesting that their local meta is that way. And lastly, Guillaume Mion, who's running a Cruel Boys list with Middle Finger, and he's running Restless Energy and Intercept and Recover. He had Kragnos, Killer Boss on Corpse Ripper Vulture, and 3 units of Bolt Boys. And then a Breaker Boss on Troggoth, a Kill Bow, a Swamp Caller Shaman, and then 20 Gut Rippers. So it's a much more aggressive list from this Cruel Boys army, which I think is quite interesting, versus having an additional unit of Gut Rippers and more support pieces, and instead very much like Kragnos is going to do all the power work for me here, which I think is fun. Anyway, I hope everyone in France had a great time and enjoyed the event. Our next event takes us to the Tabletop Republic event, which is on the High Street in England. I don't actually know the location. I'm sorry about that. It doesn't say. It just says High Street, classic England. And this has got 18 players, I think, playing at this event organized by Tabletop Republic, if you get the chance to go there. In first place, we have Carlton Leonard with Lumineth Realm Lords, running a list called Speltharian, which is LRL again. And he is running Attuned Garan and Master the Paths with Eleanor and Elithor, Blade Lords again, River Blades, the Venari Banner Blade, the Light of Altharian, the Scourgy Garan variants, reinforced unit of Wardens, and 2 units of Blade Lords as well, and the Sonari Caligrave. So now we've got River Blades featuring very heavily, but we've got a new version of LRL doing well this week, like Skaven, very broad roster, lots of ways to play them, and they're constantly doing well. Some common themes though, Eleanor and Elithor, and also the Light of Altharian. So that's cool. In the 4-1 section, we've got Christian Salvage with a list called Fly Me to the Moon, which is a Flesh Eat Course Lords of the Manor. Oh, Do you remember when that was all we would read out for like 6 months? You're running Master of the Path, Intercept and Recover. Ushran, Crypt Horrors twice. 2 units of Crypt Horrors that were reinforced. Marascroll Herald and Morbeg Knights. Then Abhorrent Cardinal, Crypt Guard, Grand Justice Gourmet, and a unit of Morbeg Knights. Talking about investment stocks is not... You are holding on to a lot of Morbeg Knights right now in the meta lying around. Ushran, key element of these lists. Crypt Horror is still very good. I kind of expect to see Flesh Eater Courts maybe make a bit of a comeback. They're really solid, but maybe he's got to paint up some Crypt Horrors instead of everything else. Then Ian Belcher was running a Knights in the Fright Satin, which is another Flesh Eater Courts list, Lords of the Manor, and then Intercept and Recover and Restless Energy. And then we got Ushran, Crypt Haunter Courtier, again, 2 units of Crypt Horrors, Royal Zombie Dragon, an Abhorrent Gore Warden, the Scourge of Grand version, Grand Justice Gourmet, and some Morbeg Knights. I mean, in a meta of like big fighting in the middle, I mean, I feel like the Flesh Eater Courts are in an okay position. So pretty solid. I hope everyone had a great time. Again, Lumineth featuring again, then we see Flesh Eater Courts. So now we're seeing the meta expand out even more. Lots of armies are making it into the 4150 section this early into the edition. That's really healthy for the game. Our next event takes us to Straya, over to Australia for the Salt Smash 3. Just a little note, just FYI, this event was run on our website, is run on a website called Stats and Ladders. Stats and Ladders is a website where you can run your events. It's been a really great tool for lots of people in the Age of Sigmar community. They've decided, or they've made an announcement, they're going to be taking a pause on setting up any new events through Stats and Ladders. They have said that we hope to return in the future with an even better system designed to make running and playing events even easier and more rewarding than ever. So they're taking a pause so they can potentially update it, which is like, really sensible. Also, we should talk about the fact that Best Coast Pairings and Games Workshop have like a direct business relationship now where they use that. They use Best Coast Pairings to track or run events for the for their like ranking system, which is kind of really only used by like Americans, I think. A lot of people in Europe use Malarkey, but I think a lot of people use it as well. But either way, it's sad to see Stats and Ladders go away, and also to see these community tools, which are really, really beneficial to lots of different communities over the past few years, to be like sideswiped by Games Workshop going into bed with like someone else. So a massive shout out to those organizers, and I hope we see them return in the future. Okay, so jump over to the Salt Smash 3, which was located in Sylvanian Heights in Sylvania, which is in New South Wales. Over in Straya, we can see that there were no 5-0s, but we've got a bunch of 4-1s. The first 4-1 is Mitch Bug with Ogre More Tribes. I'll have you know this is the second Ogres list, top of the pops at the moment. So Ogres hot right now. The list is very interestingly named. Keep my wife's me out of your mouth. Whoa, aggressive. It was running a Moorpath Menaces list with the Wrathful Cycles and Restless Energy battle tactics, with a Butcher, a unit of Iron Guts, a reinforced unit of Gluttons. The Iron Guts were also reinforced. The Scourge of Ground Iron Blaster, some Noblars, ×2, Slaughtermaster, Gorge and Moorpack, and a Bloodport Hunter. Not much to say apart from Ogres go smash and they do a bit of shooting, but importantly, it's important to say, Ogres up there again. Austin Cranfield with Cities of Sigmar was running a Faith Steel and Gunpowder list, which was Cities of Sigmar Veteran Cannoneers. With Wrathful Cycles and Scouting Force, he had a Freeguild Marshal and Relic Envoy. Freeguild Cavaliers reinforced, 3 units of Freeguild Command Corps. Second time we've seen 3 Command Corps. Callous and Toll, a Battle Mage, Scourge Grand Pontifex, 2 units of Wildercorp Hunters. We're on Regiment 4 now, so technically Regiment 5. And then a Fusel Major on Warhawk with 3 Great Cannons. So all of the usual suspects from the cities list in here, but again, only with a 4-1. So they've lost a game. Sean Weatherstone with Daughters of Cain. Daughters of Cain again this week. Crazy. Using the Viperic Guard. It's called Viperic Guard. Daughters of Cain Scath Coven with Intercept and Recover and Master the Paths. Marathi, a unit of Bloodstalkers reinforced, an Iron Scale, and the Shadow Queen. Then a Blood Rat Medusa, reinforced unit of Blood Sisters, another reinforced unit of Blood Sisters, and then some Canary Life Takers. So this has not got anywhere near as many of the Witch Elves. Instead, it's gone for all that other fighting with the Blood Sisters. but ultimately they do the same job, just in a different way. So again, Daughters of Cain, really hot. And finally, Pyu Hin Ho, running Slaves of Darkness, was running a Champions of Chaos list with Intercept and Recover and Master the Paths, with a Chaos Lord and Demonic Mount, a Reinforced Unit Chaos Knights, another Reinforced Unit Chaos Knights, Chaos Legionnaires, and a Chaos Lord and Demonic Mount, and then a Chaos Sorcerer Lord, Chaos Lord, and a Reinforced Unit Chaos Warriors for an outrageous amount. 100 health on a 3-up save, able to get a 5-up save, pinning your opponent in so they can't get out of their objectives, so they can't do battle tactics or do grab objectives, is a crazy tactic that I think he's made work really well. Congratulations, everyone at Salt Smash. I hope you had a great time. Our next event takes us to Maryland, where Daniel Meeks has organized 18 people to play in the Theater of War 2 GT. We had no 5-0s, instead the 4-1s. We've ended up with Nick Rao running Cities of Sigmar, veteran Cannoneers again with Restless Energy and Master the Paths. We got that classic Fusil Major and the Great Cannons going down together. Double Cavaliers, Frigo Marshal and Relic Envoy, Command Corps, Callus and Toll, and the Pontifex with the Battle Mage. I keep seeing all these lists, and I keep seeing them all at the 4-1 section. Very interesting. We've also got Rye Anderson running a Sylvaneth Warsong of the Wargrave of the Burgeoning list with Intercept and Recovered Scouting Force. Running Lady of Vines, Gossamed Archer, Scourging Around Revenant Seekers, and some Tree Revs. With Belthanos, Kurnoth Hunters with Great Swords, Kurnoth Hunters with Scythes. So no Alariel on this list, and a Branch Witch. So Lady of Vines, Gossamed, no Alariel, but now double Scythes. You put, double Kurnos. Put that all in the middle. Very tough to deal with. And then Ben Kutri was running a list called the Infinite Shark Glitch, which was Ineth Deepkin, Earthsea Predators, with Eidolon and Mathlan. And then 1, 2, 3, 4 Alapexes, a Leviathan, and a Keeling Leviathan, and a unit of reinforced Morsar Guard. Now, obviously, with the new Deepkin book, this is going to change slightly, but not too much. The book is still very solid, and the Alapexes are still really great. Hope everyone had a good time at the event. Let's go look at the Brew City Brawl. Next up, we are going to we're going to the Brew City Brawl, organized by Mark. Thank you, Mark, for doing so. 2025 Brew City Brawl, organized in Greenfield, Wisconsin, at Warp Storm Games and Lounge. If you ever get the chance to go, that would be really fun. That's a 3,000 point GT, is it? It is. So normally we don't cover these, but I'll just quickly shout them out. Say Alex Binns got the 5-0. Congratulations. Loads more stuff on the board. Tommy Brewer on the 4-1 with Sons of Behemoth. It turns out you can get Broad, a War Stomper, a Gatebreaker, a Beast Smasher, Kragnos, another Kraken Eater. That's crazy. Love to see that. And then Nicholas Ravity was running Soulblight Gravelords with just a ton of characters. What did he have? He had Vampire Lord and Nightmare Seed, Reinforced Blood Knights, Vengori Lord, Prince Vordry, Manfred, Reinforced Barrow Knights, White King, Neferat, and the list goes on. And I feel rude now if I don't read out the 5-0, which is Flesh Eater Courts, Lords of the Manor, Usharan, Reinforced Crypt Horrors, Reinforced Morbeg Knights, Vargulf and Crypt Guard, then an Abhorrent Ghoul King on Terrorgeist, Crypt Flayers that were reinforced again, Infernal Courtier, and then more Crypt Ghouls reinforced, more Crypt Horrors reinforced. 3,000 points, crazy. Should we start doing events at 3,000 points? Let me know what you think in the comments. Our next event is taking us to Canada, in BC, Canada. If you get the chance to go over to the Drop Zone Games, looks like a fantastic gaming venue, back-to-back great venues. Organized by Tim Grant. Shout out to Tim for organizing. We've got a 5-0 and we've got 1-4-1. Our 5-0 is Skaven, run by Matt Chaber. He's running a Flesh Meld Menagerie. His list is the Public Gym Rats. He's running Scouting Force and Intercept and Recover with Visit Scour, Reinforced Unit Globadeers in 2 play packs, then a Scourging Garan, Gracier on Screaming Bell, Rat Ogres, triple reinforced Rat Ogres. Second time we've seen this. Wow, Vizic also making a comeback. Will Reeves is running a list called the Big Pig Jig. Oh no. He's running Krasog's Grunter Stampede. It's time. We've got to get the pigs out. He's running 1, 2, 3 units of Gore Grunters with a Tusk Boss General, a reinforced unit of Gore Grunters, then a Tusk Boss or more Grunter, Gore Grunters, More Grunt Gougers, and the More Grunt with Hacking Crew. And these aren't even the new Gore Grunters. These are the little pigs with some big pigs as well. Shout out to Will. Amazing result. Our next event takes us is the Oceanic Championships of Age of Sigmar 2025, big name, organized by Justin Clark at the Gaming Arena. Fantastic venue in Coburg North in Victoria. I'm being told it has a bar inside. It's got food, and there's apparently a really nice cafe a couple of minutes walk away. So if you're in Victoria or around Victoria in Australia and you want to go, this looks like a great spot to go play some games in. So if we go look at the event results, sorry, I should also say that it was organized by Justin Clark. If we look at the event results, we can see that Kieran Coates with his Skaven got the 5-0 and Jacob Strachan with his Nighthaunt got the 4-1. So Coates' list was Skaven Gathering the Clans with Intercept and Recover and Master the Paths. He's running a Scourger Grand Gracier, Rat Ogres that reinforce, Rattling Guns that reinforce, and 2 Brood Terrors, the Scourger Grand ones. Plague Priest on Plague Furnace, Clan Rats and Plague Months. I gotta say, from this week, it feels like Skaven are the real winners. Skaven and Daughters of Cain, there's been Ogres as well, but they've performed very well. And then Jacob on the 4-1 was running Nighthaunt in the Procession of Death, running Kurdos Valentine, Chain Gas, Scorching Ground Black Coach, 2 Spirit Hosts, and then a Guardian of Souls, a Reinforced Unit of Plague Geist Revenants, Dreadscythe Harridans ×2, and a Lord Executioner. Interesting, they didn't go to reinforce those units so that they're more difficult to kill, and instead went for small MSU builds on this list. But again, Nighthaunt popping up again in that 4-1 bracket, and you know, Skaven again just doing super well right now. Very cool. Our last event takes us to Norway for the Pizza Brawl Summer Edition, where 12 people battled it out, and Philip Skugland was running Flesh Meld, Menagerie for Skaven, and Intercept and Recover Restless Energy at Thanquol and Bone Ripper, Clan Rats, Plague Core, Reinforcing of Storm Fiends, the Scourger Garan Screaming Bell, Clan Rats, Reinforced Rat Ogres. And that is it for this week. And oof, I mean, I gotta say, I couldn't be much happier with the meta. So many different armies, even armies I really don't think that should perform, like Seraphon popping out with a 4-1. Skaven all over, Lumineth Realm Lords all over, Ogres all over, well, Ogres in a couple of places, Daughters of Cain all over, Cities of Sigmar, constantly hitting 4-1s, but not really popping 5-0s. Uruks, both types of Uruks doing really well, Big Pigs also, the Cruel Boys also popping in. Very interesting to see. We saw LRL, we saw Sylvaneth in different playstyles as well. We saw Soulblight Gravelords, Flesh-Eater Courts, like loads of, like very diverse. I would also put this down to the fact of KO also. We saw a couple of KO lists. I would also say that we are in a situation where we're very early in the meta. Because of Battle Tactics, the game plays as differently as it can without it being a new edition. Battle Tactics and also Primary is playing very differently. Also, the change to the priority role, specifically if you have more battle formations than your opponent, then or regiments than your opponent, then you're going to re-roll that priority role, and that may have changed a bunch of stuff as well. Yeah, the Dark Oath list with the Skaven was really good. I thought that was really fun. Very, very exciting times. Even people like Twiggy doing really well with Cities of Sigmar 1 week, jumping over and trying a very different style of Stormcaster next week. That's interesting as well. Very cool. Very cool. I'm nothing but pumped about like the playability of Age of Sigmar and the different armies right now on the tabletop, which I think is really exciting, with 2 new battle tomes on the way and a preview as well this week. I don't know how much more like exciting we can find the game to be, but let me know in the comments below what you think and what your thoughts are like about the game. And thank you to everyone on the Honest Wargamer Patreon. Can't do this without you. I appreciate you a lot. You're the best. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon. Loads of love. Goodbye.